everybody, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Waterboy Experience. I am your host, the Waterboy himself, Davis McLemore, and we have had a long couple weeks here. We've been without an episode release for a little while. Most of it is on my part. Also, some of it is also on my co-host's fault. But never mind that. We got a lot to cover and catch up with. We got the NFL draft. We got a lot going on in Formula One. And we're going to talk about who we think in football is going to be a threat and who's probably going to be swimming at the bottom of the pool this year. And help me tackle all of that is my good buddy, the CEO and CFO of Night Productions, the Red Bull chugging son of a gun himself, Mr. Jason Shaddix. Jason, how are you, my man?
Why are you putting the blame on me? The whole blame is on you.
I said most of it was on me.
All of it is on you.
Not all of it. I'd say it's a fair 95 to 98%.
Why is there a 2 to 5% margin of error there?
You should have pushed me harder.
Your wife can't get you to do the dishes. You think I can get you to push harder for this?
You know, that's a fair point, but I think you could. If you really wanted me to, you could like hold a family member of mine hostage, and you'd have that over my head.
You don't care about your family members.
Well, I'm just saying that would work. That'd be a great motivating factor.
Who am I supposed to hold a gun to their head that you care about? The family dog? You know what we do with dogs on this show, right?
Everyone knows what we do with the dogs on this show. Unfortunately, we don't condone that in any way. That's not us. Michael Vick fought them. Don't do anything with them. We don't touch them. We don't look at them. We don't eat them. Although we may have accidentally eaten a dog or two at one time in our life, but I think we all have.
It's that mystery meat from school, man. I'm telling you.
I thought that was soy meat.
Nah.
Like a fake excuse for a meat.
Nah, man. I think we've eaten dog. I think we've eaten raccoon, possum, and probably a horse.
Probably.
But anyway, enough about that. Let's get on to the topics. We've missed 2 Formula One Grand Prix, the Japanese Grand Prix and the Chinese Grand Prix, both of which, surprisingly, were pretty entertaining, except for the fact that Max Verstappen won.
Again.
Like always.
And are we supposed to get used to this at this point? I mean, we're already used to it. Do we need to just get comfortable with it and sit in it for a little while? Is this the new norm?
I think it's going to be the norm for this year, but based on everything that's going on now, based on the rumors, going forward, things might change. And what do I mean by that? Well, the rumors are out and everybody is talking about it, including BBC Sports, Sky Sports, you name it. They're all talking about the fact that Adrian Newey is reportedly set to leave the Red Bull racing team that he's been part of since their founding in 2006. And
which will shake up the Formula One scheme as we know it. I mean,
it depends, because some people might think that Adrian isn't as important to the team as everybody else thinks he is. And by some people, I mean Christian Horner, because last year, during an interview, he kind of downplayed Newey's importance by saying that the technical team under him, led by Pierre Wache, is doing a wonderful job, so they're not dependent on Adrian. And from what I've heard, that kind of pissed him off. But the real catalyst to him just wanting to leave Red Bull is the fact that the whole power struggle with Red Bull, with Christian Horner and his allegations, they're saying that Adrian got tired of it and he doesn't want to deal with any of that stuff anymore. He doesn't want to play with children.
And do you blame him?
No, I don't blame him.
No, he doesn't.
So it's going to be an interesting little dynamic, because now people are saying, okay, some people are saying Adrian Newey isn't behind the whole success of this RB, and it's Pierre Wache. And others are saying, well, Wache has his work cut out for him because Adrian is still a fundamental part of this team. Adrian Newey has more championship winning cars than almost any other team on the grid or team in
Yes.
history by himself that he's developed. And a lot of people are saying that.
I mean, in the past few years, it's not a stretch to say that he's built some of the greatest Formula One cars to ever be on a track.
Exactly. And the thing is, people are saying, okay, is he going to retire or is he going to go somewhere else? And Adrian has been adamant about wanting to do more projects outside of F1. But there are rumors going around that he wants to work with Lewis Hamilton and he wants to work with the Scuderia. And some teams have also been trying to get him to work with them, most notably Aston Martin. But the rumor going around is that Adrian Newey doesn't trust or doesn't have any faith in Lawrence Stroll. And it might come down to the fact that his son, Lance Stroll, is, to put it bluntly, a blithering idiot, because if he saw the Chinese Grand Prix during a safety car, okay, so the safety car was about to come in, and Daniel Ricciardo was behind somebody just slowing down at the second to last corner when all of a sudden Lance Stroll just drives into the back of him. And Lance Stroll is putting the blame on Daniel, and even Daniel, when they told him, he visibly got angry, and Oscar Piastri said, well, Lance says that he hit the brakes, that Daniel hit the brakes too early, and that's why he ran into him. Well, Oscar said that, and then he followed it up by going, but everybody else did that, and nobody else crashed, so...
I think you really got it right when you called Lance Stroll a blithering idiot. I mean, we've all kind of seen it.
We have.
And he's just an underperforming, untalented... I mean, I feel like I could get in a Formula One car and drive better than he does. I mean, let's be honest, the only reason he's on the team is because his daddy owns it.
Yeah, that's pretty much the truth. And apparently Adrian doesn't think that Lawrence Stroll is going to provide the correct team, which could also say the fact that, okay, he wants Lance to be the main guy, but at the same time, they're also saying that Adrian thinks, oh, Lawrence Stroll might be like, oh, look, I just got Adrian Newey, and he might sell the team to the highest bidder to make some money, and he doesn't want to do that. Another thing is, some people are saying, well, why doesn't he go to Mercedes? It's a legendary team now. Well, again, another rumor going around is that Adrian thinks that the problem with Mercedes is going to take way too long to fix, and that he doesn't want to spend that much time in that team.
So he's in a I want to win now
Yes, but at the same time, if you read between the lines, what does that say about Mercedes?
They're not ready to win now. And from the way Adrian Newey's putting it, it sounds like they're not ready. They're not going to be ready to win for a while.
I think because Adrian has that special ability where he can like see the airflow and see the aerodynamics without having to have a computer screen in front of him. I think he sees what the fundamental issue with that Mercedes is. And one of the things that Mercedes used to say was, it's the side pods. It's the zero side pod concept. That's what's killing us. It's been 3 years, mate. It's not the side pods. It was never the side pods. It's the suspension. It's the underfloor. And they kind of almost refuse to admit that it's the fundamental principles of that car that's the issue. So that only leaves one viable candidate, and that's Ferrari, because he's already been to McLaren. He's already won with McLaren, I think, with Mika Hakkinen. And I do believe he won or came close to winning with Lewis Hamilton. But he wants a brand new challenge, and that challenge is going to be win with Ferrari, win with either Charles Leclerc, or win with Lewis Hamilton.
And I think for Adrian, if he's looking to retire or if he's looking to have some fun because let's face it, he's in the later stages of his career. Why not Ferrari? Why not go out on top with one of the greatest to ever do it and design a car for the most prestigious team on the grid?
Exactly.
Is that wrong to say?
No, it's not wrong to say. And if rumors are true that they're offering him $100 million, you'd be stupid not to take it.
Oh no. Take the money, Adrian. They're not paying. Wait. How much are they paying Lewis again?
Probably like 80 million.
Shit. Take it. You're making more than the fucking driver.
I say 80 million, but to me that's a very conservative estimate. I wouldn't be surprised if they're hitting 100 million.
Oh yeah.
But time will tell, and I hope Adrian has success wherever he goes. Some people are saying he might just retire and go and say, "Fuck it, I'm old. I don't need to be doing this bullshit. I already spent almost 20 years with Red Bull."
Yeah. He might just decide, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm going home. He's probably made more than enough money for him to live the rest of his life on.
I think he just bought a yacht last year.
Good for him.
Exactly.
Go spend some time on that yacht.
Exactly. But that's the rumor going on right now, and that's the big hot issue at Formula One right now. Anything that happened at the Chinese Grand Prix has been forgotten right now because of Adrian. But before we move on to the NFL draft, which it's going to be the main event if you haven't already heard or seen the title of this episode, Ferrari has announced that they are partnering up with HP, and they're not only going to be just a sponsor, but they're going to be a title sponsor. So it's going to be, I think, Scuderia Ferrari HP.
So HP is in like the laptop company?
Yep.
Like this shitty laptop company. That's the reason why I'm recording on my phone.
Yeah, the same shitty laptop company that your wife made fun of me for having what was it? Mine's some Lenovo, yeah, and she's like, HP is better.
Yeah.
And whose computer is still working perfectly fine.
After all this time.
After all the abuse that I've put that thing go through.
I wonder if that's any indication on what the cars are going to run like.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, though. Because of this new HP sponsorship, coincidentally, they're going to celebrate the 70th year anniversary that Ferrari has been racing in the United States by going back to the two times that Ferrari ran a blue livery. Because basically back in 1962-64, somewhere around there, Enzo Ferrari wanted to get into the American market and wanted to get into other markets. And the FIA, along with some like Italian association, they basically said no because you didn't build enough cars. So Ferrari, in his Ferrari way, he said, fuck this. I disavow the Italian flag and the Italian color, because back in the day you didn't run like a livery like, oh, I like the color blue, we're gonna paint our car blue. You ran colors based on your nationality. So if you were Italian, you could do red, white, and green, and he went, of course, with the red. And he said Ferrari will never run a car in red, and he did it, because when they came to the American Grand Prix in Watkins Glen, they ran a blue livery, and they even changed the name of the team. Officially, on paper, Ferrari wasn't at that Grand Prix. Instead, what was it? North American Racing Team was there, which was run.
What?
Which was actually a racing team that was a satellite team for Ferrari in the United States. Basically, they're like, hey, can we pay you to race for Ferrari and stuff like that, and they'd be like, "Yeah, sure, we'll take your driver. We'll do this. We'll do that." And because they were already an established team in America, they had an easier time to get into the American market that way. So when Ferrari got pissed at the Italians, he said, "Fuck this. That satellite team is going to be the official name for Ferrari." And that's what happened. They still had the same drivers, but he stripped the car from the red into the blue, and he just put a different name on there.
He just did a little rebranding.
And they won the race too.
Now that's crazy.
Oh, it's Enzo Ferrari, so what do you expect?
Has anything like that ever happened before, like a team changing their name and their entire color scheme for one race or something like that?
I don't think so. I think Ferrari might be the only one, but that's just...
McLaren went pink one year for them. That was really weird.
That's true. But Ferrari technically changed the name of the team on paper. Ferrari wasn't there.
Yeah.
So in a way, I think Ferrari might be the only one in Formula One. Now, I don't know about other motorsport categories, but at least in Formula One, they're the only ones.
Huh.
All right, now, before we move on, we got one more piece of news, and that's that Formula One has announced a 24/7 streaming channel. It'll show Grand Prix replays, F2, F3, and Formula One Academy races, as well as classic Grand Prix. It'll have a free tier subscription that will have ads, and it'll be available on Samsung TV Plus, Amazon Freevee. That's literally what it's called, Feeveee, and Pluto TV.
Freevee?
Freevee. No, Feevee.
Yeah, Freevee. Feevee?
Did I forget the R?
Feevee?
I think I forgot the R in my notes.
I don't know. I thought it. Because I've heard of Freevee. I know what you're talking about when you say that, but Feevee is.
It makes more sense now that you're saying Freevee that it might be that I forgot the R.
Yeah, it's Freevee, like free TV.
Yeah, I think I forgot the R in my notes. So yeah, it's going to be available there. So if anybody wants to watch Formula One and just want to watch like a random race, maybe a classic race, maybe just past Grand Prix, well, you'll be able to watch it for free with ads.
I wish they could get like the rights from Netflix to show like old episodes of Drive to Survive.
Maybe, you don't know.
We don't know. But yeah, that'll be cool. That'll be cool just to kind of have in the background while you're doing whatever else you do.
Exactly. But that has been my Formula One news thing. I think this weekend it's going to be the Miami Grand Prix, so we're going to review that when it comes out. Hopefully, we will actually get to review a race this time.
Hopefully
we have
Max Verstappen will win again. Spoiler alert.
Look. Let the people have some faith in the fact that maybe he'll crash one of these days.
In who? Who else is there that could possibly win?
Carlos Sainz.
Carlos Sainz.
The only man.
That's a name I haven't heard in a while since fucking week whatever it was.
Australia.
When he won his last race because he got lucky.
He didn't get lucky. For Red Bull,
he got lucky.
He did not get fucking lucky. You know that as much as I do.
He got lucky because Red Bull was very unlucky.
Fair enough, but he's the only other racing driver to win a race that's not named Max Verstappen in 18 months.
Yeah, because none of the other ones got lucky. They all suck so bad.
Charles tried, but Charles failed.
Charles tried, but Charles tries all the time, and Charles fails all the time.
Meanwhile, Carlos Sainz is without a race seat, so that's the thing. Anyway, let's move on to...
that makes you think.
Yeah, it does make you think. But anyway, let's move on to the main event, what we have traditionally done every year since the beginning of this show. Inception,
of this so-called show.
Exactly. We're going to review the 2024 NFL Draft. Now, I'm still getting into NFL. So I'm not really. It's overwhelming for me. But Davis is going to take hold of this dog, and he's going to fuck it while I hold its head. I'm
Well,
sorry, Sydney.
shut up. Well, speaking of fucking dogs, uh, no, I mean this draft. It was held in Detroit. It was the biggest fan turnout for an NFL draft ever.
700,000 people.
They had not 700,000
It
people,
was
but
700,000 people.
well, 700,000 people. Okay, 700,000 people. Hold on, think about this. And just to put this in perspective, if that number is accurate and it is true, there were more people at the NFL draft than there are watching AEW Dynamite on TV in their own homes.
I mean, based on the ratings that they've gotten the last few months, is that it's surprising?
No, not at all. I just wanted to point that out. Thought that was an interesting tidbit.
Their biggest star, CM Punk, isn't even employed at that company. He's in WWE. So
no, but this isn't about wrestling.
well, you opened the door, motherfucker.
Reel it back in, you son of a bitch. I did. That was my bad. I jumped back and forth between the Pat McAfee feed and the classic ESPN. One channel had Nick Saban on it, which was awesome, and the other channel had Pat McAfee and Bill Belichick, which was also cool. So the Pat McAfee feed was just very cheesy, so I would get tired of it every now and then. They didn't really talk about the draft. They just talked about everything happening around the draft. But the ESPN does like they usually do. If you wanted to watch the actual draft and the things that were happening in the arena and on the stage, then you watch the ESPN. And Nick Saban, a lot of these guys that were getting drafted from Alabama, Nick Saban knew these guys because he coached them. So he gave a really helpful and kind of cool insight to, all of his boys and all the guys that he played against, and it was pretty cool. But anyway, we open up the draft. The first pick in the 2024 NFL draft, the Chicago Bears selected Caleb Williams, and you and I have talked about Caleb Williams before. We're not his biggest fans, to say the least. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's pretty accurate. We do not like him at all. But besides the whole drama queen thing, we saw footage of him playing, and we kind of just went through the prospects, and we kind of just realized Caleb Williams wasn't that great. He really just wasn't.
He's a meh.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying that either of us can be a better quarterback than he is, but what I'm saying is
I can.
Is that why this is called the quarterback experience, or is this called the Waterboy Experience?
Well, we could change the name back. Quarterback.
All right.
Quarterback, nickelback, either one.
Oh, God, don't give me
But anyway.
But we kind of saw him play, and we saw that he was being carried a lot. And we saw that he had a lot of imperfections. And now not every quarterback can be great. Like, every quarterback has their strengths and their weaknesses, but with him, I don't see why he's a first round pick. Like the number one overall pick. Like, why anybody would choose him over what was the other guy's name? Jaden Daniels?
Jaden Daniels, who went number 2 to the Washington Commanders.
Which that kid, I'm sorry for Jaden Daniels. I'm really sorry. His career ended before it even started. But he's a better quarterback.
He's much better. He won the Heisman. He won the Heisman Trophy for a reason.
Exactly.
And he wanted to go to the Raiders. I just know it. Because, I mean, you look at if you were watching the draft, you would see the look on his face when he walked out on the stage to take the jersey from Roger Goodell. He didn't want to be there. That dude looked so bored. He was like, fuck, man.
Well,
But
look,
Raiders tried to trade up, but they couldn't make a deal happen.
well, here's the thing though. It's not the fact that he's going to that he couldn't go to the Raiders. That's why he was upset. It's the fact that he went to the Cardinals. You might as well go to Arizona at that point.
Oh yeah. If he could commit all the crimes he ever wanted to, he could witness a high-profile assassination, and he could go play for the Arizona Cardinals, and nobody would ever find him. He didn't go. Wait, Arizona Cardinals. Who are we talking about now?
We're talking about Jaden Daniels. Remember the Washington Redskins?
No. He went. Yeah, Washington Commanders. You've got me all confused now. Same thing with the Commanders.
Yeah, that basically what I'm saying. It's purgatory regardless. So if you go to Arizona, it's purgatory. If you go to the Washington Commanders, it's purgatory. Like regardless of where you're going, those two teams are death, and he doesn't deserve that. And I think if the Bears would have picked him number 1 overall, I don't think he would have been upset. Oh, I don't get to play with the Raiders. I think he'd be happy the fact that it's like, at least I'm not in the Commanders, but
at least there's a chance that I'll be able to do something. But, and that kind of takes us back to the whole Caleb Williams thing. Look, I'm not denying that he's a talented athlete. He's, for what he does, whatever it is he does, he's pretty good at it. But I'm telling you right now, a lot of things are going to come out about him being a drama queen. He wants part ownership in the team that he's on. This guy is a lunatic. I saw somebody earlier today on Twitter. They called him the Prince of the NFL. And by Prince, I don't mean like royalty Prince. I mean like the artist formerly known as Prince. He paints his fingernails. He pitches big old fits and everything. He's not the kind of guy that you want leading your team. And that's what I'm really worried about with Caleb Williams.
Honestly, if he doesn't get like part ownership in the team or any of that stuff that he said, oh, I won't play with him if I don't get all that, he's just going to look exactly like everybody's telling him, a fucking idiot.
Oh, yeah. I think he already does.
Look, we haven't seen him play. Maybe he will do good. I highly fucking doubt it. But the way I see it, the Bears wasted a number 1 overall pick, and the Bears are just going to drown. Do you see anything?
And a lot of people...
Do you think I'm wrong?
Not at all.
There you go.
No, I don't. They're the Bears. And it's kind of like, I think we had this conversation earlier. The Chicago Bears could bring Tom Brady out of retirement and it wouldn't change a thing. They're still the Chicago Bears. Justin Fields was not wrong when he said that the coaching staff is extremely flawed over there. And that's just something that they don't really want to look at. Upper management, they don't want to really look at that. They just want to change quarterbacks. And here we are again. You went through a rebuild and this is what you're going to have to do. So let's see, give it another 5 years and let's see who the Chicago Bears' new number 1 overall draft picked quarterback is. Because now they're just on repeat.
They are. And my problem with this draft was it's not strong. It's not strong at all. It's a little bit stronger than last year's, but I really didn't see anybody besides one individual who was worth anything. And where he was picked, it was like criminally underrated where he was picked, because it was just, I couldn't believe it. And we're going to get to him when we get to him. But let's move on from number 1 and number 2 to number 3.
Which was the New England Patriots taking quarterback Drake May from North Carolina. Which, to me, unfortunately just feels like let's start the Mac Jones project over again with someone else. I think Drake May has potential to be a better quarterback than Mac Jones, but who are his weapons? This is even with Drake May, the New England Patriots have one of, if not the most unimpressive looking offense that they could put on a field. I'm gonna give you a bold prediction right now, if I can. Is that okay?
Go for it.
By next year, the New England Patriots will be dead last in the league.
Okay. You're going way too far. You're saying they're going to be worse than the Panthers.
Yes, I really do. I think Bryce Young is a better quarterback than Drake May, who's just the second coming of Mac Jones.
Well, I don't disagree with that, but at the same time, you have to think about who's in charge of the Panthers and how that organization has been going since, what was it, a Super Bowl appearance with Cam Newton?
Whose shit stink worse?
Probably the Panthers.
It's really going to be a contest between them. They're going to try to tank as much as they can to try and see who can get the next best quarterback that comes through town. But going on from here, we're not really going to break down each individual pick. You know, Marvin Harrison Jr. was taken next at number 4 with the Arizona Cardinals, which good for him. You know, in my personal opinion, I think he was the second best wide receiver in this draft. You know, and you mentioned earlier on the first best was taken much later than he should have been. But Marvin Harrison Jr. will absolutely kill it in the league if he can get on a much better team than the fucking Arizona Cardinals. Now, the big shocker of the night, the one that nobody expected, came out of left field.
Number 8.
Number 8. And let me just kind of set the scene for you here a little bit. As a Raiders fan, I'm sitting there. Jaden Daniels has been taken off the board. I'm like, fuck, we didn't get the guy we wanted. So then I start trying to think. I'm like, well, who else is there at quarterback that we can get? And then I come to terms right at about the 7th or 8th pick that I would be completely content if we got Michael Penix Jr. I think he would be all right. He played in the national championship game. He did fairly well. I'm like, okay, let's see if we can make something happen. Number 8 pick rolls around. The Atlanta Falcons select Michael Penix Jr. And I go, fuck. And I'm like, that doesn't even make any sense. And we have Falcon friends that are Falcons fans.
Nate.
And we asked them what they thought about this. Yes. And Nate was enraged. He did not know what to say about this. He was like, this doesn't make any sense. Because even their new star quarterback that they just paid a shit ton of money to,
who may I
he
remind
basically
you,
came out and said, this doesn't make any sense.
who I might remind you, I was against the idea of hiring Kirk Cousins, especially for that amount of years and that amount of money. And then,
well, yes, but
and then somehow they think, okay, we just spent a fortune on a quarterback who, based on the money, based on the length of the contract, based on everything, which, by the way, most of it was guaranteed. Let me put that out there. Most of that money was fucking guaranteed, and it was more money than most quarterbacks make. So it was a shit ton of money, and then they get a brand new prospect quarterback, and to me it says, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Because if you saw, I don't know if you saw this, but there was an image running around, a video going around of the GM for the Falcons trying to explain to the owner, who was visibly like shocked, why they picked him. And it was right after they picked it, and you could tell that this guy was like, well, you see, I thought he might have been a great guy because of this and that, and it's like, and you could see in the owner's eye, he's thinking, what have I done?
it's mind-boggling. Nobody gets it
insane.
at this point. It's insanity. You want to piss off the guy you just paid a fuck ton of money to? You just did.
Guaranteed.
And to think we said they could do anything better than Arthur Smith. I don't think they can.
I don't think
it's only going downhill from here.
I don't think it was Arthur Smith who was the issue.
He was one of the issues.
He was, but How the fuck? Who makes the idea of hiring a quarterback, guaranteeing most of the money, paying him more than some of the top quarterbacks in the country even make, and then you get somebody else for a first round pick?
I don't think it's that. I think their mindset is we're going to stick him behind Kirk Cousins for a few years, but I mean, if you were going to do that, you should have waited until maybe like the fourth or fifth round to take another quarterback. I don't know. It's just, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I get what they were going for, but now was not really the time to think about that, to start planning for the future. So,
Yeah, but here's the thing. Also, if I'm Kirk Cousins and they just piss me off, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go and I'm going to purposely tank, because what are they going to say to me? Oh, we're going to bench you. You know what I'm going to say? Okay, I got my money guaranteed, motherfucker. So go ahead, bench me, put that new kid in there. I'm going to sit at home counting my money that you stupidly gave me and then pissed me off. So, you know what? I'm going to go retire early. I'm just going to go out to the beach. Later, fuckers.
and I'm not going to teach him a goddamn thing.
Exactly.
Fuck you.
Fucking brilliant minds at the Atlanta Falcons, huh?
Oh yeah. They're running a tight ship over there, if you know what I'm saying.
Fuck yeah. All right, let's move on and let's
Well,
talk about some other teams. Specifically, I want to ask you what you think about the Raiders pick.
well, when we had, we fell to number 13, and really nobody that we were planning on getting was there. And it was a tough decision to make at this point. There wasn't a quarterback that was good enough to really justify picking in the first round, so we weren't going to do that. And we decided, you know what? Just go with the best possible player you can possibly get in the draft right now. Doesn't matter who, just get it. And that player turned out to be Brock Bowers, tight end out of Georgia. Now, at first, I was a little confused. I was a little upset about this because I was unfamiliar with this kid. I didn't know who he was. I didn't really care. But I started watching some film of him and, kind of paying attention to who he was. And now I remember, I'm like, okay, he's that fucking beast from Georgia. So I see him being a Hunter Renfro like player for us, or maybe even a Darren Waller, even though I don't think he has the size that Darren Waller did. But I can see him being that guy that we rely on for third and long situations to need to convert him. I mean, he's got the hands, he's got the route running skills. He can also block, which will open up our run game a lot. So we'll see how he does. But for now, we'll leave it as we will watch your career with great interest, if you know what I'm saying. So we did what we had to do.
I was honestly surprised that you guys picked a tight end, but it kind of makes sense. Just there wasn't a lot of like good picking. For example, number 12 was the Denver Broncos, and they drafted a quarterback, Bo Nix.
Yeah, and good luck with that, Denver.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback, but he's nothing special. And you just hired Russell Wilson to be your quarterback.
Zach Wilson, right?
Zach Wilson. I always get
Zach
there's like
Wilson.
too many fucking Wilsons. Okay, Zach Wilson. There we go. My bad, Zach Wilson.
Oh God, you
Can't
must
do
hate the
any better
movie
than Zach
Castaway.
Wilson. There's a reason why I haven't seen it.
But anyway, we'll move on from there. Just kind of glossing over a little bit. That was really all of the notable players that were taken from the first round. I mean, after that, it was, tell me if I'm wrong here, but it was just kind of dead for the rest of the night,
It really was. Even for the Lions, Like we have a pretty good solid team, especially if you looked at it from last year. We have a bunch of issues that we need to fix, of course. But one of the things that kind of took me by shock is for our first round pick, we were at number 24, and we decided to pick cornerback from Alabama, Terrion Arnold.
Good pick. Good pick.
It's a good pick, but I kind of feel that we could have done a little bit better than that. Like we could have, chosen a different position because I don't know, man. The waste of first round pick on our cornerback to me, it's kind of like it doesn't make any sense, especially because hold on, especially because Brandon Rice, who I'm very fucking high on, was drafted in the 7th round.
Yeah, that was absolutely ridiculous. He should have never fallen that far.
Exactly. Like, has no one seen this kid play? Like, I saw him play. Trust me, his quarterback was good, but the quarterback was underthrowing those balls. And Brandon Rice was the one who was like, fuck it, you're fucking throwing it not far enough. You don't have enough power behind it, but I could still fucking catch it every single goddamn time.
Well, do you remember who his quarterback was?
Was it Caleb Williams or was it Jane Daniels?
It was Caleb Williams.
Yeah. I couldn't remember if it was Caleb Williams or Jane Daniels, but Brandon Rice was what got Caleb Williams to be that good. And to me, to have him be a 7th round pick is a fucking insult.
Oh, yeah.
And then to me, it's just like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Yeah, it was. I hope wherever he goes, where is he at now? What's he doing?
Okay, so Brandon Rice is playing for the Los Angeles Chargers.
Okay. So that won't be too bad for him. He'll have a good little experience over there.
He was picked at 225.
Jeez. Yeah, that's a steal right there.
Yeah, so Harbaugh is going to be an idiot if he doesn't use Brandon Rice.
Oh, he'll use him. Trust me. Him and Justin Herbert will get along very well very quickly. So,
can you believe it? Because like on ESPN, I'm looking right now at ESPN, and they have like these draft analysis and these grades. Brandon Rice was only graded at 76.
I think that's insane. I think it's just people didn't really know that he was out there. I think all the hype was on Caleb Williams, and as far as receivers, Marvin Harrison Jr., which, go figure, was another son of one of the best receivers of all time, but still, I think it's just nobody was really impressed. He didn't stick out to anybody, which I don't know how that's possible, but
maybe he had a bad day at the combine.
That's what I'm thinking, because I've seen a lot of times, there's also something they take called a football IQ test. And, these guys will take the football IQ test, and that'll determine, how well you're doing, how well you're picked in the draft, or how highly recruited you are. Originally, the Carolina Panthers, when they had the number 1 pick in the draft last year, everybody was saying, "Oh, C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud's going to be the guy. That's who they're going to get." And they ended up skipping over C.J. Stroud, and they went with Bryce Young. Well, the main factor for them.
That's right. I remember that because you kind of like blew a gasket almost, and we're like, "How the fuck did they pick him over him?"
Yeah, and I mean, it was because of the football IQ test, and they weren't really impressed with his performance in the combine, and so they decided to go with the other guy, which you kind of have to understand. Sure, the combine is helpful. It's great to know how high a guy can jump and how fast he can run, but it really doesn't simulate what it's like to see a guy in an actual football game environment. You know what I'm saying?
No, of course. And that's one of the things I was going to bring up is when we were watching film of Caleb Williams and Brandon Rice, one of the things that popped up to you and me like instantaneously, and we talked about it, was Brandon Rice, and we were like, holy shit, this guy is fucking good. And I remember we were sitting at your old place and we were just watching film, and you said, who is that fucking guy? And I looked it up and I'm like, you're not going to fucking believe it. That's Jerry Rice's kid. And you're like, no fucking wonder he's so good. And to me, it doesn't make any sense how you will take a control environment like the combine where, okay, yes, there's the pressure that, okay, the NFL scouts are looking at you and they're looking at what you're capable of doing. Okay, that is true. But when you're in the fucking game, that's a whole different kind of pressure. And we saw that Caleb Williams, when he gets pressure on him, he makes mistakes. He throws a ball, but he can't throw it accurately. He doesn't put enough force behind it, or he overshoots it. But Brandon Rice, he's always there. He's always getting the ball. And that's
he puts himself where he needs to be.
Exactly. And that's why, like, to you and me, Caleb Williams, we're like, he's not that great. It's Brandon Rice. It's the team that's really pushing this kid to be good. So to me, it's just like, it doesn't make any sense why you would put too much effort, too much mind into the combine, but you don't look at the actual games, at the actual pressure they're at.
But he's another one that we will watch your career with great interest.
I hope he doesn't like especially after I just like basically sucked him off.
Yeah, you gave him a hell of a promo.
Yeah,
oh no, I don't think he will. I think he's going to be a
seventh
star.
round pick.
Yeah,
I think he will, and I think people will jump on that hype train. But at the end of the day, everybody who listens to the Waterboy Experience or goes back and listens to these episodes can go back and say, hey, they knew that kid was something special.
Oh yeah, they pointed it out when we didn't even know his name. That's us.
They also
you
said Caleb Williams
folks.
was the drizzling shits.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
And you'll find that out too the hard way. So. But anyway, that's really all I wanted to talk about for the NFL draft. Did you have anything else of significance you wanted to discuss?
Please put this dog out of its misery.
Thank you guys for listening to the Waterboy Experience, and peace.
Second and goal just outside the 10. Hart dips it in, and it's Wall, he spins into the end zone for the touchdown.